Hi guys and gals, Froggy here. This is a 2008 Tacoma and the wheel bearing is making noise. We spun it when the wheel was on. I don't know if we can spin it. Alright. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but this bearing has been diagnosed as bad basically on the noise that it was making. Also when it was going down the road and taking turns and stuff like that. So we've got the wheel off. We're going to get this caliper off. So first we're going to take this bracket loose so that between the hose and the hard line we'll have a little bit of flexibility. We'll be able to move this caliper up out of the way. Hopefully we're not going to disturb this hydraulic connection here. So the bolts that hold the bracket on are not these. This is a two-piece, I think. No, I don't know if it is or not. Actually it doesn't look like a two-piece caliper. But we're going to take the bolts off that are back here, and we'll see if that gets the caliper loose. Okay, so we're going to show you how to do this. Okay, let me get you up to speed. So right back in this area here, there's a wheel speed sensor that has one 10mm bolt that holds it on. So I disconnected that so that we could lift the caliper up out of the way. And here is the caliper lifted up out of the way, a couple of bungees to hold it up without putting any stress. You never want to put any stress on the brake line because it's 10 years old and internally you could damage it, or you could actually break it if you just let the full weight of the caliper come down on that little brake line. So then you have to pound on the rotor a little bit. I used like a 1 pound or 1.5 pound sledge or something to pound on it. Don't pound on the part that the pad touches. Pound on that inner, the inner ring there, and it'll pop off. You do not need to take this center hub here thing off yet. Okay, so that is where we are. A little focusing there. That's where we are right now. Okay, so here's where we are. And by the way, we're doing a whole hub replacement. We're not doing just the bearing inside the hub. We're doing the whole hub. Apparently these hubs are rebuildable. And once we get this side done, I'll probably try rebuilding the old one that we're taking off. But that's another job. So we had to pull this cap off. We just used penetrating oil, would be a smart thing to put on there, and then a chisel or screwdriver to pry it off. It's just a press fit. And then there is a little one of these things that holds the axle nut, and there's a cotter pin that goes through that. And the cotter pin is right there. Okay, so save that. Save that. You're going to use it over again. And now we've got to find a great big socket to get onto that axle nut. I don't have metric to get the axle nut off, but this is 1 3/8, and it's pretty close. So I think I'm going to be able to do that. That's a 3/4 drive, so I stepped it down to a 1/2 inch drive. I'm going to use the air gun. So, okay, guys and gals. Wait. Okay, guys and gals. So we used the air tool to get that big axle nut off, and that came off pretty nice. And now we've got to get these four. What size is that wrench?
17mm.
17mm bolts out, and then we might be ready to pull it off. So we're just using a box end wrench to get it started and then switching to the open end, because otherwise you get your box end wrench stuck in between the hub and the bolt that you're trying to get out. Okay, so here they come out. So here's where we are. We got all of those 4 bolts. You can't take them all the way out, obviously, because they're captured in between. When this is built, the bolts go in before they press the 2 halves together, okay? So we got them disengaged or unscrewed as far as they could, and then we just pulled on the hub, and luckily there was not too much corrosion in here, and it came right off. You know, after a few little jiggles and jerks and pulls. There is an O-ring here, and if you didn't get a new one with your new part, make sure you save this, and you're going to use it again. You're going to clean this whole area where it sits. But there, I just wanted to get you caught up to that point. Alright, so this is our new part, and this new part, it's a Dorman. Let me show you. That's the part. That's the Dorman part number, and it says Tacoma base. This is not. This is a TRD 4x4. So don't worry about it if that's what it says. Now, it also comes with an extra, what looks to me like a seal component. And there's an O-ring that we are going to use the new O-ring to replace the old O-ring. But the rest of this, yeah, there's the O-ring. The rest of this we're not going to use. And my guess is that it's for some other model year of the Toyota truck. Okay, I just want to throw that out for you guys and gals, just in case that's what you find when you buy the part. So here's what we're going to do. That component there looks like it's part of a seal on the inner side of this knuckle. I'm going to call it a knuckle or a corner or whatever you guys want to officially call it. We've looked at the seal that's there now, and it's in good condition. And to me, it looks like the seal that's in there now, let's see if I can zoom on it. I'm putting my finger on it right now. It looks like it's part of this whole cover. See this cover? It has like a metal band that's holding it on there. There. See that? See that right there? It's a metal band that you crimp on there. On this truck, it looks like the inner seal is part of this, so we're gonna reuse that. That one I'm still thinking might be for a different model year, so we're just going to reuse the O-ring part of it to replace. That's the new O-ring. I forget where I threw the old O-ring. So we're going to clean that up. Yeah, let me push it a little bit. See that separation there? That's a seal there. So we're going to clean that up and grease it up and reuse that. And then put it all back together the way it came apart. But I just wanted to give you a little extra information on that. Okay, so we cleaned the back sealing surface and greased it. Don't use too much grease. It doesn't serve any purpose and it's just going to get pushed out of the way. Pulled it in and I greased the splines there lightly. And now we are ready to put the 4 bolts back in. They do have some Loctite on them. And I'm going to look up the torque spec and I'm going to give it to you, but I don't know if we're going to be able to get a torque wrench on there. I have some crow's feet that might be able to use, but I really don't know. We might have to just do this by feel. Okay? Okay, so as far as getting that O-ring in the right position, it's easy. Here's the new bearing, here's the new hub, and you just shove the O-ring, lubricate it, not excessively, but lubricate it with the grease, and then it just sits right around that surface there. Okay? Okay, let me get you caught up. So we've got those 4 bolts engaged, and I'm going to give you some torque specs, but I recommend that you look up your own torque specs, because guys can say the wrong number. Even Froggy can say the wrong number. So look up your torque specs, but those 4 were supposed to be torqued to 59 pounds, but there's no way to put a torque wrench on it. So I took that 17 millimeter wrench and I put gloves on both of my hands, and I just used my judgment to get it to what I think was about 59, 60 pounds, all 4 of them. The next thing was the axle nut, and for that I used the air gun. With the air gun, you don't have to hold against the resistance as you're tightening it up, because otherwise obviously this axle nut's going to turn. But I use the air gun about medium speed. This air gun goes up to 500 or 600 pounds if you just blast away at it for quite a while. The torque spec, I think, is about 170, 75 pounds on that. Look it up, don't take my word for it. So you tighten that up and you put that little locker ring on there and put the cotter pin through and bend the cotter pin. And that's where we're at now. We can close that up now with the little hubcap thing. So put that little hub cover on there. I used a rubber mallet to tap it back on there. It's pretty strong actually, so we didn't get any dents in it. I would recommend don't use a hammer like that. Use a dead blow or a rubber mallet to put it back on there. Okay, what we did next was take the caliper off of the bungee cords that we were using to hold it up there. We made sure that our hydraulic brake line and our wheel speed sensor were coming around into the right positions to bolt them down, and 2 caliper bolts to go back in, and that size is okay. So that's 17 millimeter. We're going to turn the steering to the right, and that'll expose them, so we will be able to get a torque wrench on them, and I'll give you that spec. So those 2 caliper bolts are going to go to 91 pounds. Okay, we're about done. The caliper bolts went to 90. The speed sensor was like 20, which basically, just be careful you don't strip it out, 20 pounds, and the hydraulic bracket was about 25 pounds. Again, be careful you don't strip it out. I chased the threads on the bolt for the hydraulic bracket routing piece because they looked a little gnarly to me, and I didn't want to cross thread it. And the bracket will give you a little bit of trouble. You have to have that bracket squared up. So here's what I suggest. Try the bolt first and make sure the bolt goes into the hole nice and easy and smooth. And then once you're sure that it's good, take the bolt back out, put the bracket on, and now you're going to have to align that bracket correctly so that it'll go in just as smoothly as it did before. Okay, that way you know you're not cross-threading anything. That's it. I'm going to look up the torque spec on the lug nuts. You guys can look that up. That's your homework, okay? Give me a thumbs up or a like. This helps you out. Subscribe to my channel if you want more from Froggy, and be safe, have fun. See you later. Froggy out. Bye.